Small one. Yeah.
While you're at it, hit that subscribe button to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Charlie Chaplin. Although Charlie Chaplin was one of the first big Hollywood icons, he was also considered to be pretty sus as far as the government was concerned. After rising to fame in the silent film scene, Charlie Chaplin gained a lot of notoriety, but this also caused the government to want to take a deeper look into his life, and in 1922, the FBI opened a file on the actor. This file later grew to span over 2,000 pages as the government had suspected Chaplin of being a communist sympathizer and a potential threat to U.S. security. The FBI first got this idea that perhaps Chaplin was against the American government after he used his comedy film Monsieur Verdoux to criticize capitalism and the use of weapons of mass destruction. Eventually, Chaplin and the American government became at odds with one another after Chaplin was denied re-entry into the U.S. after taking a trip abroad in 1952. The actor eventually said enough is enough, and he and his wife moved to Switzerland where they lived until Charlie's passing. At number 7, John Lennon. During the 1960s, John Lennon's popularity was at an all-time high. Though this was great for his career, later on this seemingly posed a rather substantial threat to someone else, the president. Lennon gained a lot of popularity with young people, and because he was known to be vocal about his political beliefs, it was starting a trend of other people doing the same thing. This ended up being a pretty big problem for President Nixon in the 70s because he believed that Lennon's influence would pose a threat to his re-election. As a result, the Nixon administration, along with the Nixon administration, along with the FBI, put Lennon under surveillance and tried to find a way to get his visa revoked and have him deported. Years after Lennon's death, the public learned that the FBI had 281 pages of information on the musician, but not all the documents were released, as it was argued that some of the files included classified national security information that was too sensitive to be released to the public. All but 10 pages were released, but what do you think are all those missing pages? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments. At number 6, Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong was one of the most influential jazz musicians of all time. His career spanned over 5 decades and over different eras of jazz. Now, luckily for Louis, he was one of those celebrities whose names were included in FBI files, but was never formally investigated as an individual. He was simply involved in an incident that involved the FBI. In November 1970, a bunch of jewelry worth around $30,000 was stolen from Century Plaza in Los Angeles, and the musician's name was given in connection to the investigation. He just so happened to be around at the time of the incident, which just had him involved with the FBI. I can imagine that this could be a little nerve-wracking at the time, but finding out about this investigation is a little cool, seeing that this legendary jazz jazz musician was involved in something so mysterious. At number 5, Walt Disney. When you think of Walt Disney, you might think of Disneyland and those lovable Disney movies, but behind all that lies a man of mystery. There's a lot of stuff about Walt Disney that people don't know that can be pretty dark, including the fact that he worked with the FBI for part of his life, and there's a pretty extensive file on him. Walt Disney had a relationship with the FBI for almost 30 years, but luckily it wasn't for anything evil per se. Walt acted as an FBI informant, and his job was reporting people to the FBI who he believed could be communists. So anyone he knew in Hollywood or even at his own company were being observed by the Disney founder and were being analyzed and investigated by the Bureau. Walt Disney's FBI file was around 600 pages long, and within that file it indicated that in exchange for his help, the FBI allowed Walt to film a handful of projects at their headquarters. At one point, Walt wanted to create a newsreel depicting FBI agents as heroes to help their public image. The Disney founder was eventually given a special title for his help with the agency and was dubbed Full Special Agent in Charge of Contact. At number 4, Albert Einstein. These days we know Albert Einstein as the genius scientist who gave us the theory of relativity, but back in his day, he was considered a real threat that the US government and the FBI had a file on him. The Bureau had an extensive 1,800-page file on the scientist looking into his background, and let's just say that they didn't trust Einstein one bit. In an excerpt from his file, it is written that, quote, "In view of his radical background, this office would not recommend the employment of Dr. Einstein on matters of a secret nature without a very careful investigation, as it seems unlikely that a man of his background could, in such short time, become a loyal American citizen." End quote. Among other theories about the scientist, the FBI believed that Einstein was a German spy, simply given his background, and they were ready to deport him at a moment's notice if the reports were proven correct. At number 3, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, the legendary musical superstar immortalized as the King of Pop, was one of the most successful singers of all time. He had it all: the largely successful career, the fame, the fortune. He had it. He had everything. His death came as a shock to all of us, but what may also be a shock is the fact that the King of Pop was involved in a serious investigation with the FBI, and the agency had a file on him. Michael was making waves in the music industry, but come 1993 and again in 2004, Michael began making headlines after being accused of serious crimes for inappropriate behavior with an individual under the legal age. In both cases, Michael was brought to court, and the FBI was there to support local court systems with their own information that they had on the singer in regards to the cases. The FBI even tried to bring in the plaintiff from the 1993 case to testify at the 2004 case's trial, but the individual refused as they had previously settled out of court with Michael for a $15 million settlement. At number 2, Tupac Shakur. Rapper Tupac Shakur was truly one of those stars who was gone too soon, and to this day, his death remains unsolved. He had a widely successful career. He sold 75 million albums worldwide, and he was also a pretty successful actor as well. On top of that, he was involved in the darker side of things too, having rivalries and conflicts with other notable rappers and producers like Notorious B.I.G. and Bad Boy Records. This rivalry is what caused Tupac to earn his very own FBI file because of the death threats that he had allegedly been receiving from a domestic terrorist group. According to Tupac's FBI files, this group who was targeting the rapper was also going after other artists, extorting money from them in exchange for protection from supposed enemies who wanted them eliminated. This could have something to do with the mystery surrounding Tupac's passing, but like I said, to this day, no one knows for sure what happened on that fateful September night in 1996. At number 1, Lucille Ball. Everyone loved Lucille Ball. She was a pioneer for women in the entertainment industry, blazing a trail for future female entertainers. She had countless shows and her own production studio, but she also had her own FBI file as she was being investigated by the agency on suspicions of anti-American ideals. It was suspected that Lucille was perhaps a communist, and of course the FBI had to look into this for matters of national security. This concern was first raised after it was discovered that when Lucille filed to vote in 1938, she listed her party as communist. Another reason why the FBI had their suspicions of Lucille was because of a rumor that alleged that the entertainer had picked up Japanese radio transmissions with her dental billing during World War II. Luckily for Lucille, though, the FBI was never able to find any concrete evidence to suggest that she was any real threat to national security. Before we wrap things up for today, I want you guys to leave a comment down below telling me if you would ever want to work for the FBI. I feel like it could be an interesting job, but maybe it's been too glamorized by Hollywood. Leave me your thoughts on it down in the comments. Anyways, that's it for me.
Spider-Man is in back. Peter Parker. so that Mysterio never revealed my identity.
You ready?
Whoa, hang on.
Oh my goodness, what are we looking at here, folks? These gifts I got you yesterday reminded me how, what does that say? Ungrateful and uncooperative you are, so I'm taking them back.
In at number 10, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Everything about this couple was messy, from how they got together to how they split up. After a terrible and messy divorce from Jennifer Aniston, with plenty of cheating rumors flying around, Brad and Angelina basically confirmed that they were together only a month later. They then got married in 2014. The couple had a huge family with many children, growing their family to 6 kids, with 3 being their biological children. Then came their separation, where cheating rumors started swirling. Then came the divorce, which came only 2 years after they got married. One of the messiest revelations in the divorce was that Pitt may have gotten physical with their oldest child, Maddox, while he was drunk. But the LA Department of Children and Family Services later cleared him of all charges. Then they had many legal fights about money, where Jolie claimed that Pitt hadn't, quote, paid any meaningful child support since they split. But then it came out that Pitt had paid over $1.3 million and even loaned her $8 million at one point. In at number 9, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. The marriage between these two have generated rumors for years. More specifically, Tom's relationship to Scientology and how Katie fit into that world. Eyebrows were raised after the couple divorced in July of 2012, 6 years after being together. Throughout the relationship, many speculated as to how real it actually was, with rumors swirling that there was a lot of fakeness in the marriage. Then when the couple got divorced, they finalized everything and many think this was a testament to just how ironclad the prenup they signed was. And apparently a big part of the reason for the divorce was that the couple could not decide on how to raise their daughter Suri. Tom wanted her raised in Scientology, however Katie did not want it to be exclusively Scientology. In at number 8, Wendy Williams and Kevin Hunter. The relationship between these two have been discussed in tabloids for years. Many people exposing Kevin over the years for cheating on Wendy. The talk show host filed from divorce from the TV producer in April 2019 after almost 22 years of marriage. This came after it was revealed that Kevin Hunter got his mistress pregnant. Wendy spoke about the divorce in an interview where she said, quote, Kevin had a major indiscretion and he will have to deal with that for the rest of his life. An indiscretion that I will not deal with. Never thought that I would be in this position. The divorce has not only been hard on Wendy, but sadly on their son as well, Kevin Hunter Jr. In at number 7, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You guys already know about this train wreck, but I will sum it up for those of you that don't. Depp and Heard first met in 2009.
This year, take the time.
Fame isn't what it's all cracked up to be. At least that's what a lot of celebrities have said. Turns out fame isn't for everyone. There are some who can handle it and others who crack under its immense weight. Let's talk about some of those celebrities that aren't too fond of their place in Hollywood as we count down the top 10 celebrities who hate being famous. At number 10, Billie Eilish. In recent years, singer Billie Eilish has had a lot of success come her way. After rising to fame in 2015 with her song Ocean Eyes, Billie has since grown to become an award-winning artist, winning multiple Grammy Awards, AMAs, MTV Europe Music Awards, Brit Awards, MTV Video Music Awards, and an NRJ Music Award. But with all that fame comes a lot of pressure, and because she's gained massive fame at such a young age, Billie has struggled with it, even regretting her fame at times. Back in 2019, Billie did an interview where she talked about her life in the public eye and how her career and fame has affected her life, and she spoke out about how there wasn't much in the world that brought her peace, saying that though her life is fun and exciting, she doesn't have much sense of calm in her life. When asked about her sudden rise to fame, Billie spoke out about how her fame has had such a huge impact on her childhood, where she said, quote, I don't mean this in a necessarily negative way, but I sort of lost my teenage years because this all started when I was 13. There's no training, there's no let me go to a school that's going to teach me how to be famous, end quote. It was almost like she was thrown into the deep end before learning how to swim, and she spent the majority of her teen years navigating herself through all of that, which must have been tough for someone so young to do. She's grown up in front of the prying eyes of Hollywood, and that would freak anyone out. At number 9, FKA Twigs. Singer FKA Twigs has experienced the highs and lows of fame. She rose to fame through her music, but many people know her for her high-profile relationships that she's been in. The singer was previously in a relationship with actor Shia LaBeouf, and she was in the news recently after she filed a lawsuit against the actor, alleging that he hurt her several times throughout the relationship. But before this high-profile relationship, she was dating Twilight star Robert Pattinson, and this relationship caused her to gain widespread attention. Because Robert has such a huge following, some of the attention from Robert rubbed off on Twigs, and a lot of the attention she received was negative. In an interview in 2015, the singer spoke out about her experience with fame in regards to her relationship, and she said that she was struggling with the public's perception of her. As soon as they went public with their relationship, Twigs found herself under a spotlight that she wasn't ready for, and when speaking on this, she said, quote, "It's really hard. I can't begin to explain how awful it is. It makes you want to just stop everything sometimes. It makes you want to smash your face into the mirror," end quote. Though she was struggling with the public eye, she did say, however, that it was worth it because she loved Robert so much. Before we carry on talking about the celebrities who hate being famous, why not take a quick moment to leave a like on this video to show your support, and while you're at it, maybe subscribe to the channel as well to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has always been pretty open with her fans about her life and her struggles. She's an open book when it comes to many aspects of her everyday life, and that includes her career in the